Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our collective salutations at the lotus feet of our most beloved Sadguru, respected elders, teachers, and all my dear brothers and sisters, a hearty Sai Ram. In each one of our lives, as we come across different types of people, we realize that every individual is unique. How we think, how we speak, and how we behave in different situations varies for every one of us. As we see these variations, it is natural for us to wonder as to why every individual is so different and whether there is something fundamental within us that contributes to this. This morning, as we studied the 14th chapter of the Gita, we understood that it is the three gunas of the Sattva, the Rajas, and the Tamas which influence and guide our thoughts, words, and deeds. Sadguru describes that it is the permutation and combination of these gunas that constitute the personality of every individual. Even individually, there are times when we feel in a certain way. Either we feel very active and energetic, or we feel very lazy and lethargic. This is because every guna is dominant during a specific period of the day. Keeping this thought in mind, the schedule of our educational institutions has been designed. From 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the evening is considered to be the Sattvic time, wherein we engage in prayers, meditation, and in the pursuit of spiritual knowledge. From 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is the Rajasic time period dedicated to academics, performance of different responsibilities, and the acquisition of various new skills. Finally, from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. is the Tamasic period meant for sleep and rest. Having learned the extent of influence that the gunas have on nearly every aspect of our lives, right from the kind of food that we eat, the company we choose, and the overall behavior, it is important for us to progress from the lower gunas to the higher gunas and finally transcend them. We can do this through sincere efforts of replacing tamas with rajas by engaging in constructive activity instead of wasting time, and further sanctifying this activity by offering it to the divine. Now, we shall chant the important verses of the 14th chapter.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Chaturdashodhyayaha Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogaha Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Param Bhuyah Pravakshyami Jnananang Jnanamuttamam Yajñātvā munayas sarve param siddhimito gataha idang jnanamupashritya mama sadharmyamagataha sarge pinopajayante pralayena vyathanti ca Mama yo nirmahad brahma tasmin garbhan dadhamyaham sambhavas sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata sarva yonishu kaunteya murtayas sambhavanti yah Tasam Brahma Mahadyonihi Aham Bija Pradah Pita Sattvam Rajastamaiti Gunah Prakriti Sambhavah Nibadhnanti Mahabaho Dehe Dehi Namavyayam Tatra Sattvan Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Anamayam सुखसङ्गेन बध्नाति ज्ञानसङ्गेन चानघा रजोरागात्मकं विद्धि तृष्णासङ्गसमुद्भवम् तन्निबध्नाति कौन्तेय कर्मसङ्गेन देहिनम् तमस्त्वज्ञानजं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिः तन्निबध्नाति भारत सत्वं सुखे संजयति रजः कर्मणि भारत ज्ञानमावृत्य तु तमः प्रमादे संजयत्युत रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्वं भवति भारत रजः सत्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्वं रजस्तथा सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्वमित्युत लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भः कर्मणामशमस्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरतर्षभा अप्रकाशो प्रवृत्तिश्च प्रमादो मोह एव च तमस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे कुरु नन्दना यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्तमविदां लोकान् अमलान् प्रतिपद्यते रजसि प्रलयं गत्वा कर्मसङ्गिषु जायते तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मूढयोनिषु जायते कर्मणः सुकृतस्याहुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसः फलम् सत्त्वात् संजायते ज्ञानं रजसो लोभ एव च प्रमादमोहौ तमसो भवतो ज्ञानमेव च ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्था मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्था अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति गुणानेतानतीत्यत्रीन् देहि देहसमुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्युजरा दुःखैः विमुक्तो मृतमश्नुते अर्जुन उवाच कैर्लिङ्गैस्त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतो भवति प्रभो किमाचारः कथञ्चैतान् त्रीन् गुणानतिवर्तते। श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रकाशञ्च प्रवृत्तिञ्च मोहमेव च पाण्डवा न द्वेष्टि सम्प्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि काङ्क्षति। उदासीनवदासीनो गुणैर्यो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इत्येवं योऽवतिष्ठति नेङ्गते। समदुःखसुखस्वस्थः समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरः तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः। मानापमानयोस्तुल्यः तुल्यो मित्रारिपक्षयोः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी गुणातीतः स उच्यते। माञ्च यो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते। ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्याव्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च। ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे गुणत्रयविभागयोगो नाम चतुर्दशोऽध्यायः। श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
Now, we request our revered Chancellor, Shri B.N. Narasimhamurthy Sir, to address all of us.
With loving pranams at the lotus feet of Sadguru, brothers and sisters, very dear students, boys and girls. Just now Sadguru pointed out that our school schedule, the daily routine, is based on these three qualities. Which time is Sattva, which time is Rajasic, which time is tamasic. Therefore, a discussion on this particular chapter, the 14th chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, becomes all the more important for giving our students and teachers an understanding of how these three qualities are the main players in the drama of life and also drama of the universe. Sattvam, Rajaha, Tama, iti gunaha Prakriti sambhavaha nibadnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Here the two words dehi and deha. Deha all of us know, and in Bhagavad Gita particularly, unless it is pointed out separately, this mind is different. Deha always means the body-mind complex. It is not only the inert body, but even the mind is a part of this deha, unless it is mentioned separately that there is mana also. And the second is Dehi, who is the Atma. Yesterday, Sadguru pointed out, this Dehi is none other than the Kshetrajna, the consciousness which will never undergo any modifications. Therefore, coming back to how we decided the schedule is based on division of time of 24 hours in a day into 3 periods: Sattvic time, Rajasic time, and Tamasic time. The Sattvic time, this was in fact for the first time brought out by Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba in one of his discourses almost 35 years back. Morning 4 to 8 and evening 4 to 8 is the Sattvic time. What does it mean? See, Sattva means purity, knowledge, and joy. See, these are the times. Morning 4 to 8 includes the sunrise, and evening 4 to 8 includes the sunset. Therefore, that is the time which is conducive for any pursuit of peace or any spiritual pursuits. Therefore, it is called Sattvic time. And the Rajasic time is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is the Rajasic time. This is 8 hours. And that is why it is called Rajasic. That time is suitable for activity. Therefore, karma. So that is the important feature of Rajas, that is due to the desire and lobha, greed, karma, karma comes. The action will come there. Therefore, for activity, this is best suited. And evening 8 p.m. to morning 4 a.m. is best for, it is tamasic quality because tamas means sloth and sleep and laziness or heedlessness. So that is the reason why these our routine in our schools and in the university are based on this division of time. That is what Sadguru pointed out just now. And a deeper understanding of these 3 qualities will make us better analysts of life and our daily life, especially how to design. Even it is not only the school schedule or the university schedule, even others who are out of the university, out of school also could adopt this kind of schedule. With these words, I conclude and pray to Sadguru for enlightening us on this differentiation of the 3 gunas and how to become, how to transcend these 3 qualities and know the divinity which is within us. Thank you very much. Sara.
In the last chapter of Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, we also studied about Prakriti and Purusha. And essentially, Prakriti is all that which is manifest, and Purusha is the unmanifest consciousness which is within every one and everything, including the stone, which seemingly is unconscious of itself. But there is consciousness in that also in the form of this prajnana, which is divine quality. It is this which enables us to experience everything in this world, without which we cannot experience. And mind and body is the part of Prakriti, that is the Kshetrajna, whereas this consciousness is Purusha or that is Kshetra, and Purusha or Kshetrajna. So in this chapter, the concepts are getting even further elaborated. Last time Sri Krishna said that Vikarascha Gunaschaiva Prakriti Sambhavat. Why this Prakriti comes into existence? Because the Purusha itself undergoes some kind of a modification, Vikara, and Gunaschaiva. There are certain attributes that come into existence, and that's how this modified version of God, which is the world, we get to see. So what vikaras we have studied last time also, what are the various vikaras there, what are the changes that happen. And in this vikara, even in mind like Chetana, Dhriti, Sukha, Dukkha, Ichha, all these happen. And physical vikaras are what? From the Avyakta to the Panchamahabhutas to Panchendriya, Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, Manas, Ahankara. All these 24 aspects are there in the physical vikaras. And mental vikaras are Ichha, Sukha, Dukkha, Chetana, Dhriti. All these were mentioned as the description of the vikaras in the last chapter. But the gunas were not described. How Prakriti also has the guna part of it apart from vikaras. And that guna part is being detailed now in this chapter called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Again, there are three kinds of, Traya means three, Guna means attributes or modes of nature, and Vibhaga, the difference between the three should be known. By knowing which, you can again become a yogi, yoga. Anything that you learn in Bhagavad Gita takes you towards that ultimate goal, which is to realize your divinity. That is the idea of yoga. So how is this going to help us? That once we know the difference between what is Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna, what should we do with it and how do we overcome these and become Gunatita and thereby realize our divinity is this chapter all about. Just now Narasimhamurthy ji also said, and you also have chanted, that all these three gunas are also because of Prakriti only. It is not Purusha's gunas. These gunas are of Prakriti only. Like last time we studied the vikaras of Prakriti, this time we are studying the gunas of Prakriti. Prakriti Sambhava. It's not because of Purusha Sambhavan. It is Prakriti which is creating, which is consisting of these three attributes, using which all the activities happen in this world. Right? What are these three? This is what we have understood using this chapter. Krishna says Sattva Guna is there. And what is the quality of Sattva Guna? It is Nirmala, that is without any dirt or without any sin, without any defect. It is pure, prakashatvat, like a bright light, pure light it is. If light is pure and clear, everything is seen correctly in that light. There is dim light, dark light, colored light, things are not very clear. So when you have Sattva Guna, it is like a shining mind which is completely illumined with this brightness. And you can see everything, you can experience everything correctly. You won't see the snake in the rope because it is so bright. And everything you can see correctly. That is the idea of Sattva Guna. And what does it lead us to? It leads us to knowledge and happiness, he says. But for the pursuit of this knowledge and happiness, we have to use the Sattva Guna. If you want to learn something in life, good things, and you want to be happy by learning good things, then you have to use the Sattvic Guna quality. But this also binds the Dehi in the Deha. Dehi, Kshetra, Gnya. Deha, Kshetra. We know that body is the Kshetra. And the indweller, Dehi, indweller is the Kshetragnya. So Kshetragnya gets somehow bound by even Sattva Guna is what it is saying. Though Sattva Guna is the best of the gunas, but yet you get bound by the Sattvic qualities also. In the pursuit of that joy that comes out of learning new things or good things, people, go to various places, to gurus, to ashrams, to many places. And they keep accumulating more and more knowledge. They keep reading scriptures after scriptures. There is some kind of a joy in it. This joy is definitely better than the pleasures that come out of, ambitious achievements in life. More money, more wealth, more power, more positions, more relations, more respect in society, more authority. This is another type of joy. But that joy comes under the second quality, which is called the Rajasic quality. Rajas means basically passion. So this passion leads us to all kinds of actions. And it is defined by, he just now said, Lobha is there, greed is there in this Rajasic Guna. And Trishna is there. Trishna means desire for more, for new things, for more things. And generally this is selfish in nature, generally selfish. Even I am very Rajasic when it comes to running so many projects. Without the Rajasic abilities, you cannot run these projects. But this is a good desire. This Rajas of mine is controlled by the Sattvic Buddhi. It tells me, yes, you need to have good desires. What is the desire? Loka Sangraha. What is the desire? Atmano Mokshartham. What is the desire? Jagat Hitaya. For that sake, you do all the actions in the world. Because it says, this also binds us to this world, this also binds that Atman or Kshetrajna to the body, because any desire needs an action to fulfill it. So, Karana Sanjayate, this particular thing is the guna of Rajas is controlled by actions only. Some kind of activity you have to get into. The reason for this guna is activity. So whenever we get into activity, you know that you are being driven right now by Rajasic qualities only. Whenever you feel pure, meditative, you feel like withdrawing, you feel like being with yourself, solitude we learned yesterday, then you know that you are actually exhibiting right now your sattvic qualities. Sattvic mode is now active. And suddenly you go into the Rajasic mode when you have to do all the actions, including good actions. Including good actions require Rajasic quality. Without Rajasic quality, you cannot do good actions. And last is the Tamoguna, which is the nature of inertia, indolence, and negligence, and postponement. One real quality of Tamasic people is anything you tell, we'll do it tomorrow. When you come the next day and ask them, when are we going to do it? I told you yesterday we'll do it tomorrow, so we will do it tomorrow. So that tomorrow never comes for these Tamasic people. They always find some excuse to not do things. Good things, bad things, they're so lazy they can't even do bad things. So that is one good thing about these people, that they're so lazy, they can't do even a bad thing. So this is Tamasic guna, which is also a part of our Prakriti nature. But all these three are important. So if we don't have this inertia or sleep, a lot of people suffer from lack of sleep and they are restless, they become unhealthy, they become mentally disturbed. So sleep is very important. Whole body has to shut down and rest. Only then you can come back in the morning and do more work. So Tamasic guna is required for us to rest. Without Tamasic guna, we cannot rest. There are some people who are eternally awake, they can never sleep at all. In fact, 70% of Americans take some sleeping support like pills to sleep because they're very Rajasic. It's very difficult for Rajasic people to go to sleep because their mind is continuously running. Because some desire, some thought is always coming in them and which is driving them into action. And action creates reaction. And to take care of that reaction, another action. So it just goes on and on and on for them. Therefore, they cannot easily rest. If you have too much of Rajas and no Tamas, you will not be able to rest. If you have too much of Rajas and no Sattva, you will not do good things in the world. All that you do will be bad. You will be the billionaire CEO of companies, but you will not do one paisa good to anybody. Why? Because you are very capable of undertaking action because you have huge Rajas in you. But that Rajas will not help anybody. That is selfish only. Whereas Sattvic people, if you have too much of Sattvic, you have no Rajas in you, you will be very noble, but you will not be able. You will not do anything. That is why I keep saying, what is the use of all the nobility without ability to do good to others? And what is the use of all the ability of the Rajasic people without the nobility of Sattvic? Because that doesn't help anybody any which ways. So we need a balance of both. So whole Prakriti started off in a perfect balance state, they say. When in the beginning, Mahat, he says, I am the Yoni and I am the Bija Pradata, both I am. Sri Krishna says, Yoni means like a mother's womb. And Bija Pradata means like a father's seed. Both have to come together for the creation to happen. So he says, I created everything, but it was in unmanifest, perfect balance state. When Sattva, Rajas, Tamas were in perfect balance state, there was no activity, absolutely zero peace. Then a thought came in Bhagavan, let me create. And that thought was the seed which went into this absolute state of equilibrium. And that got disturbed and suddenly Rajasic, Tamasic and Sattvic qualities manifested and they started combining with each other in different proportions to create different things. In a stone, there is tremendous amount of tamas. In a river, there is rajas. It moves. And in human beings or certain animals, certain species, there is so much of sattva. Like cow, we say, it is very sattvic animal. Tiger is a rajasic animal. And sloth bear is a tamasic animal, very slow and does his own thing, sleeps all the time. So you can see that the combination of everything is what this Prakriti is. In every animate, inanimate, and especially the human beings, you will see the combination of this. So even in your class, you will see. Some people are super active, hyperactive actually, too difficult to control. You cannot make them sit in one place for more than 10 seconds. They have to move their legs, hands, move, something they have to do. So much of rajas in them. Then there are people who are so tamasic. that anywhere, anytime, sarvada, sarvakaleshu, sarvatra, they can sleep. Standing, they can sleep. Sitting, they can sleep. You have a lot of people, you'll see the tamas is very heavy in them. And then you have very sattvic qualities. Some people are so soft-spoken, so sweet, always meditative, always interested in learning about scriptures, bhajans, Vedas. You call them to the classroom to teach other things, they're not interested. But they're very interested in all the other things. In them, there is a lot of sattvic quality. Best is a combination that is useful to everybody and yourself. We need all the three qualities. Nothing is bad or good. Everything is good only in the world, provided how you use it. You use it wrongly, you use too much of rajas, naturally you are going to become very selfish and very aggressive. You use too much of tamas, you'll become very indolent and lazy and never never do any activity. Then, if you become too sattvic, then you will generally avoid everybody. You will not rest and relax, but you will also be not very useful to the society in the sense you will mostly be more withdrawn and be with yourself kind. So, we need a combination of all these things. So, I always say conquer your tamas with your rajas. When you are too lazy, get up, move. Don't sit. Because if you keep sitting, the laziness starts becoming intense and dense in you. Then you find it even more difficult to move. So when you feel lazy, get up and move around and do something. So you conquer your laziness with some activity. But when you are doing too much of activity, uncontrollable, so much so that you don't want to even sleep and rest, you have no time to eat and relax, all the time busy, then you have to control that with some sattvic qualities, that relax a bit, meditate a bit, control your senses, hold your horses, as they said, withdraw a bit, so that it gives you some stability. Otherwise, you're just going on and on. Too much speed then, no velocity, no direction. They keep doing something or the other. There are people, they can't sit quiet even one day, including me. But I have my rajas controlled by the sattvic quality. I want to do something today, but I want to do it because everybody should benefit out of this. So not for a moment God rests, but works for what sake? Works for the sake of everybody. So his sattva controls the rajas. And sattva only controls the tamas also. You don't sleep anywhere, anytime as you feel like. At the right time, right place, right kind of rest you take. So a sattvic person can control these two qualities. That's why he says at the end, but all three bind us. Sattva binds us because there is some kind of a joy in being a sattvic person. And to experience that joy, again and again you want to be a sattvic person. But it binds you nevertheless. Sukham sanchayate. Then what does this rajasic person is bound by? He is bound by action. He has to keep doing something, can't sit quiet. So they are bound by action, it is said. And tamas people, they are bound by pramadam, it is said. Pramadam means this negligence, postponement, and all this sadness that comes after that. Finally, they experience only ignorance and sadness. You are so lazy, you learned nothing, you remained ignorant. You were so lazy, you did nothing, so you achieved nothing in life. And you kept on postponing, neglecting your duties. So you were no good to anybody. So that is tamas. And Sri Krishna says that whatever be the feeling towards the end of your life, if you die a sattvic person, you go to urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha. You go to the higher lokas, you rise above. If you are in rajasic nature too much, madhya tishtanti rajasa, he said, they stay where they are. They neither go up nor they go down in their spiritual progress. And jaganya gunavrittistha, those who have terrible qualities of tamas, where do they go? Adho gacchanti tamasa. They go down. Down means they don't progress. They regress from where they are. So this is very important for us to develop ability to control these qualities. And we do yajna. You remember Navaratri Homa you do? There are 3 Devis we worship over there. Who are those 3 Devis? Which are those? Durga, Lakshmi and Saraswati we worship, right? So we pray to these goddesses because all energy is considered as feminine nature. Prakriti is the feminine side. Purusha is the masculine side. Yin yang also is mentioned in other cultures. It is a way of saying it, like positive current and negative current. Now negative current is really a female current and positive is a male current. No, these are 2 types of existence in this universe, and everything is a combination of both, is said. That is what we call as Shiva and Parvati or Shiva Shakti. These are all symbolic ways of saying there are 2 types of things in this world. One is Shiva type, other is Shakti type. So this Shakti is responsible for all the gunas because Prakriti is related to that feminine quality of Shakti. And what are the 3 Shaktis? Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti and Jnana Shakti. Jnana Shakti is represented by Mahasaraswati. Ichha Shakti is represented by Mahalakshmi. And Kriya Shakti is represented by Mahakali or Mahadurga. So these are the deities we pray to help us develop the right kind of proportions. We pray to them. If you have too much of indolence and laziness, pray to Mother Durga. Mother, give me the ability to get up and rise from this state of tamas and do something for the good of the world. So she will bless you with that. Then you pray to Lakshmi. Let me have right kind of Ichha Shakti, right desires. Wrong desires will make me do wrong things in this world. Let me have right desires for the good of all. Let me work. Let me use all my ability, all faculties only to do good to the world. That's how Ichha Shakti can be improved. Willpower can be improved to do good. Good desires can be inculcated. And then you have Jnana Shakti, which is Mahasaraswati, which is Sattvic nature in us, which helps us to learn new things and enjoy. Whenever you learn something new, don't you enjoy it? There is some kind of joy in it, isn't it? Is this joy of learning a new thing same as the joy of sleeping for 10 hours? There is some pleasure in sleeping also, right? But is this the same joy as learning something new? No, there are two different qualities. And this is a purer quality of joy. When you learn new things, do good to somebody, do seva to somebody, inculcate right kind of desires and undertake right kind of actions, there is some joy which is of superior quality than this sleeping, eating, khana, pina, sona. That joy is very, very low quality joy. Animals like that joy because they are full of tamas generally. Humans are generally rajasic. And devatas, they say, are generally sattvic. So these are qualities. Based on that, you can decide. In Ravana's family, Ravana was very rajasic. He went and stole everything from his cousin, built the golden Lanka, stole Rama's wife. So he was capable of doing anything. Stealing is no problem for him. Even Pushpaka Vimana was a stolen asset. It was not his, it was his Kubera's. He went and stole that also. So he was a rajasic fellow, very powerful, very capable, used it for selfish sake. So caused more harm to the world. His actions caused harm to the world. Whereas you see Kumbhakarna, he is so lazy that he is not even getting up to fight a war. Let the war happen, let me sleep. Ravana had to send so many people and try to wake him up. He is so tamasic and he wakes up for only one reason in a year. What is the reason he used to wake up for? To eat. And once he's finished eating, next thing is sleep. And then eat, sleep, repeat. Many students are there, wake me up when the lunch bell rings. They'll be sleeping throughout Sunday. They'll never wake up. So morning they'll wake up because they have to wake up. Then they will immediately go back to sleep. Until wake me up when the lunch bell rings. The only reason they'll wake up ever is because they'll have to have food. And once they have finished their food, after lunch, back to nap. They don't go out and play. They don't finish their homework. They don't wash their clothes. They don't clean their place. So these are those Kumbhakarna type, Eat, sleep, repeat cases. And the same family you had Vibhishana also. How was Vibhishana? Always sattvic, always remembering Rama. Rama Japa and Rama Seva. That's all he was interested in. So like this, like in one family, these three brothers were of three kinds. In our body, these three brothers live. When we are selfishly active, we are Ravanas. When we are terribly lazy, we are Kumbhakarnas. And when we are meditative and spiritual, we are Vibhishana. But Sri Ramakrishna Paramasa says, nevertheless, all these three are chains only that bind you to this body. Because where do you experience all these things? Within this body. And you are bound to this body. So that is the idea of how Dehi is bound to this Deha. Nimagnanti, the word is used, Badnanti means bound. And how it is bound? Sattvic quality is like bound by golden chain. Rajasic quality is like bound by silver chain. And tamasic quality is like bound by iron chain. Nevertheless, you are bound. Whether you are in a golden cage or a silver cage or an iron cage, you are in the cage. So that is the problem with these gunas, that though they help us to do what we need to do in the world, they do not allow us to realize our divinity. They always pull us back into themselves. So somebody can be better of the Lord by being more sattvic, but that does not guarantee you that you will realize your divinity. You have to overcome even these gunas and see yourselves as akartaram. That is the word used. I am not the doer. Gunas are doing. Remember earlier also we saw. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. But what is happening? Guna Gunas are doing whatever. Prakriti krimanai gunani sarvashaha. All gunas only are making all the actions happen around us. But we think we are doing it because we get unknowingly dragged into these gunas. And then we start dancing according to it. It's like a friend of yours who pulls and says, come, we'll go. And you, without your control, even if you don't want to go, you just get in. And then you get into whatever the friend is asking you to do. So these gunas are like that. Satvik is a good friend. Rajasic is okay friend. Tamasic is a bad friend. But nevertheless, they will drag you into whatever they want you to do. So different points of time we behave differently. Now, the ultimate realization, Sri Krishna says, you have to become gunatita. And he describes the quality of the person who has transcended all these three gunas. And what is the quality? Same qualities as you will go and see the second chapter, Sthita Prajna. His qualities are same as this quality, as same as the Bhakti Yoga Bhakta's quality. So all these people are going to achieve the same thing. Because at the end you are going to reach the peak of Nandi Hills. Whichever direction you climb from, it doesn't matter. So like that, the Jnana Yogi of our second chapter, Sankhya Yogi, who achieves Samatvam, whatever you call it, Sthita Prajna. All these qualities are manifest in that person. A Bhakti Yogi in the 12th chapter, who does what? Who does Bhakti to Bhagavan. He also achieves the same status of equanimity, Sthita Prajna status. And the person who overcomes all these gunas by whatever efforts that are needed to be put. As I mentioned, tamas should be conquered by rajas, rajas should be conquered by sattva, and sattva itself should be offered off to God. It should not be your own. Then what happens? Using this, you are able to transcend the gunas. Now I give the example of a pole vault. A pole vaulter is there, right? He has a pole. Using the pole, he jumps across. But once he jumps across, he leaves the pole behind. He does not carry the pole and jump on the other side. So the idea is to use these gunas to do good in the world, selfless things in the world, bhakti in the world, so that you can cross over. Using these gunas only you can cross over the gunas. That is the idea. So tamasic people have to rise to become a little rajasic. Rajasic people have to be sattvic. And finally a balance of all the three which helps you cross over to the other side. Other side is where Bhagavan is there. In the sense you understand the other realm of purusha. You overcome Prakriti. So this is the essence of this chapter. And Shri Krishna says at the end, those who do this, they will achieve me, they will attain me. And what happens when you attain me? Ultimate happiness. Ultimate sukha. Not the sukha of sattva, not the excitement of rajas, not the lazy pleasures of the tamas. Beyond all these things, you attain one kind of eternal happiness, he says. Sukhatyantakam, he says, that is ultimate. Beyond that, there is no happiness. That kind of happiness you will attain when you overcome all the three. So how practical you see? Use all the three gunas. There is nothing wrong with them. Use in right proportions and always be mindful that all these I am going to use for what purpose? Not for my selfish sake, but for the betterment of all, for selfless action in this world, to do my karma yoga, to do my bhakti yoga, to do my dhyana yoga, with which I will be able to transcend all these gunas and become one with that kshetrajna, which is purusha, which is dehi, which is my true nature. So all these activities that we perform, they should be for the for helping us overcome our own limitations. So remember this, all gunas ultimately bind us. Only a person who has crossed over, who has overcome these gunas, who is not being dragged by these gunas, you pick and choose as you feel like. Not that these things you can choose you, that they will drag you when you meet come to Premamrutham, suddenly there is sattvic nature. Once you go back to hostel, you become rajasic or tamasic. No, you should have control over your gunas. That is what I mean by transcending the gunas. Transcending the gunas does not mean that you will have no gunas left in you. That's not possible, right? As long as you're in body. Gunas have to be there, otherwise you cannot sustain this body. So what do you mean by transcending gunas? It means gunas are in your control. You are not in the control of the gunas. So you sleep when you want to sleep, not falling asleep anywhere at any time. You eat when you want to eat, not that you eat just because food is there. You work when you want to work, not just because madness of work you cannot sit quiet, so you keep working. You meditate when you want to meditate, not because warden tells you to meditate or somebody else forces you. You enjoy that meditation. But the best time to experience these gunas and use them in the right way is the time that he has mentioned just now. Sattvic kala, rajasic kala, tamasic kala. Now you take this chapter, take all the gunas which are there in you and take the schedule and the way entire education is designed over here. And you see for yourself how practically this Bhagavad Gita's message of Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga can be practiced in our institutions, in our daily life. You don't have to put extra efforts. Whatever you're doing, if you do it well, that itself will take care of everything. That itself will take care of everything. You don't have to do something special. This is what I was telling all the time. In the airports, we see there is one escalator will be there. What do? You just have to stand on it. It will take you to the other end. You don't even have to walk on it. Some people try to walk and all that. Not necessary. You just get into the escalator, it will take you to destination, the other side, without putting any effort. Like that, this institution is like the escalator. You simply have landed here, and this itself will take you there. That is the best thing that has happened to us. Instead of being somewhere else, other places I've seen, when the whole world goes to sleep, they will wake up to study. Which place is that on earth? Medical colleges. I always say, Ya Nisha Pashyato Mune, Sasyam Jagrati Sanyami, that story is there, no? And everybody goes to sleep, the Muni wakes up. When Muni goes to sleep, the world wakes up like that. They are just working opposite. So I told, when we are starting our medical college, make sure this time schedule is followed. Of course, there is emergency, there are other things, I can understand that. That is okay, that is doable. But generally, life should be very disciplined. You should not do the ulta things. Rakshasas wake up in the night and start doing all the things. Nishacharas they are called, right? So we are not Nishacharas. So we have to sleep and rest during night, wake up in the morning and do our right things. This is first with prayers and meditation, which helps us to develop strength in our sattva qualities and use that to control our rajas throughout the day. If morning you don't pray and start off the activities, then your activities will be they can become selfish, they can become a little out of hand also, out of control. But you start with the prayer thinking, Bhagavan, you have given me the new day. I want to offer this day to you. Make sure that you give me the right kind of understanding so that I live the day in the right way. So that when I meet you again in the evening, I have something worth offering back to you. So that's how you start the day with the prayer. And then you work throughout the day using your rajasic qualities. Evening again you meet Bhagavan in the sattvic samayam. And then you tell Bhagavan, all the day I have utilized to do your will, to please you. And whatever I have done, I am here to offer it back to you. And then you go to sleep. See, it's so simple, isn't it? It takes care of everything. Whatever Bhagavad Gita said, you do for my sake whatever you got to do. Do it for Bhagavan's sake. Remember him first thing in the morning. Remember him last thing in the evening. And throughout the day work, keeping your mind on him. What else we need to do to become spiritual? What else we need to do to transcend all this? Nothing else. If you just follow this schedule, this typical lifestyle, you will achieve what needs to be achieved. Why? Because you have already gotten onto the spiritual escalator. It is only going to take you farther, take you to your destination. Get into the right train, nothing more you need to do. Sit in the right train, it will take you to the right destination. That's all is needed to be done. But you can develop these qualities and control on these qualities only in the company of people who also have some similar control. If you are in the company of too much of Rajasic people, you will become very Rajasic by nature. If you are in the company of Tamasic people, you will become Tamasic by nature. If you are in the company of Sattvic people, you will become Sattvic in nature. But if you are in the company of Gunatraya Titaha, those who have crossed over, those who have overcome this, then you will also become a Gunatraya Atitaha. That is possible for you too. So think like that. Every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I always say, is very practical. And Bhagavan is explaining, in this chapter, he is explained the Prakriti part of it. Next chapter is going to explain about the Purusha part of it. That's also very interesting, very beautiful chapter. Deep, but then again, you must know who you are. If we want to know everybody and what they do, whenever we meet anybody, what do we ask? Who are you? What do you do? Where do you stay? Where have you come from? You're so curious about knowing everything about everybody in the world. Even an object. I've seen children, give them a phone. Within next 10 minutes, they'll find out all features, apps, how to use, how to do what. They're so curious to know things outside them. Give them anything. They're very curious to know. Why are we not curious to know who we truly are? Should we not know ourselves first before we start knowing the world? Should we not know how our mind and body works before we know how the phone works or how the car works? Before we come to know who is the other person, should we not, who am I in the first place? So this is about that. Purusha is about you. It's not about somebody else. That's why spirituality cannot be boring. Spirituality cannot be a subject that nobody wants it. It should be the first subject everybody should want. Why? Because it is about You. And you must know yourself first before you know everybody else. So this is how you know yourself. There is a Prakriti part of me, which is the body and the mind and all the vikaras and gunas that constitute all these things. But there is one more part of me, which is the purusha, which remains unattached, unaffected, is beyond all these vikaras and gunas. He is the sakshi, but he is also the supporter of everything else. He is the ultimate knower of all that is known. He is the experience of all that is experienced. He is the true receiver of all that is being done by this body and mind. With this idea, when we live, we will find that little distance between our body, mind and ourselves. And that is going to make us feel very happy. Well, how happy? Super happy, that's what Krishna is saying. So happy that you have never experienced that happiness any time. Today I met somebody, he was telling me, Swami, after you told all this, I'm meditating on this, and suddenly when I go for walk, I feel this happiness, this joy. We're constantly meditating that all this is that consciousness in birds, flowers, in the mountains, in the river, in the clouds, in everything. So also in people around me. When I see somebody approaching me, I feel I am approaching myself. Sometimes I get this feeling and I feel so happy at that time. It doesn't stay forever, but that time I feel very joyful. What can I do? I said, just constantly contemplate on it more and more. It will become yours, not second nature, it will become your nature itself. That always you will be living in that feeling. How blissful that would be. So that is Krishna who's saying, you can be blissful too like me, provided you do all that I have done or I am asking you to do. So Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga tells us the difference and distinction between the three types of nature, modes of nature. Also encourages us to use it correctly, judicially, in the right proportions, and ensure that at the end of it, you never forget that beyond this lies the other reality of yours, which is the truth, which is that you are the purusha. So the next chapter, Purushottama Yoga. No Vibhaga Yoga there, because purusha is only one. There are not three purushas. So Purushottama Yoga. Who is this purusha? Uttama, best of the purusha. Because purusha means you'll think this side of the hall. No, these are not the Purushottamas. There's Purusha Madhyamas. The Purushottama, the best of the beings, best of the Purusha is Bhagavan. And about that we will learn in the next chapter, 15th chapter. It's also a very beautiful chapter. One change in schedule. Tomorrow in the evening I have some other engagement. I have to go. So I'll come in the morning and talk to you. And you can continue your studies in the evening this time as usual. Okay? Okay, now we have a dance recital. We will watch that and see how Prakriti and Purusha, the consciousness in the dancer and all the emotions of the dance are coming together, and think how this whole world is nothing but the dance of Purusha and Prakriti, dance of Shiva and Shakti. See this recital from that perspective and you will suddenly feel spiritually elevated even watching an entertainment program. It will become enlightening. So think like this in every situation. Try to see what I have learned, how can I apply. All right.
We will now have a short break of 10 minutes, following which we request everybody to reassemble for the next segment of the evening program.